You been looking at any companies recently?
I have been looking at a company which you might have heard of. It's called Snowflake.
Yes, another meme stock.
Another meme stock. So it's not. So Lemonade wasn't a meme stock,
No.
but it's definitely one of those ones.
Last
like
week
Neo.
we talked about Neo, and that was definitely a meme stock.
Neo is such a meme stock. Yes. So Neo. What have we got? Microsoft was actually a meme stock for a little while.
Was it?
It was very random.
Okay.
But it was only a meme stock for about a week.
Oh, okay.
And so that was an interesting one. We've got Snowflake, which has been a meme stock for a bit, but it's died down a little, like the hype.
Okay.
And it was particularly a meme stock because Warren Buffett owns a $250 million stake in it, and he's someone who's very well known for not investing in tech.
Yep.
So that's and still managing to outperform all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I think that he's kind of like, it's almost like he's 20 years late on deciding to invest in tech because he's kind of realized, oh, it's something that's here to stay, you know?
Yeah.
So I know that he bought Apple, 2 years ago or whatever, and that was the first tech thing that he'd ever bought.
Yeah.
And so yeah, he's invested in this one. So Snowflake is another, and I've realized that I haven't actually taken it seriously in terms of thinking about two different types of companies, because this one's another data one, but it's a little different to Palantir.
Yeah.
It's we talked about Palantir last week.
We did.
The Snowflake allows you to mass organize your data, and it definitely does it on the cloud. So
is this are they aiming at business to business transactions? Or
it's 100% business to business.
Okay,
so,
gotcha.
So that's their main thing. So they're competing with, and it's I had to actually look into this a bit because it's actually not something that is very commonly known, and it's also something that's not commonly explained. So it took a bit of research, but I got there.
Yeah.
So but it's one of the IPOs of this year. So it IPO'd, I think, 3 months ago, something like that.
This is your second IPO stock for the year.
Yeah, this is the second IPO.
We should do Airbnb next week.
Definitely Airbnb, but this one is this IPO'd at $120.
Mm-hmm.
I think within the same day, it got up to $245.
Wow, that's the memes.
And the current price is $334.
Really?
So it's really pumping. So it's tripled, but
it has.
The people that are the real winners are the angel investors and the VCs right at the start.
Isn't that always the case?
You see a public company that's up 300%. Mm-hmm. They're up 25,000%. They probably got the equivalent of $1 per share.
Yeah.
And now it's $3.30. So I assume they did. So it's got the owner who is not the owner, the CEO is Frank Slootman. Interesting name.
Okay.
He's the CEO that did ServiceNow, which is a hugely successful another tech company.
I know ServiceNow.
So
he didn't found Snowflake.
I don't think he founded it, but he is the CEO. They brought him on. He's hugely successful.
Yep.
He's an interesting guy. They've also got the same CFO that did ServiceNow, so
really?
They brought him on as well. So it should
be an interesting fact.
It's a winning combo.
Yeah, it's a dream team,
and it's already So it's two guys that have obviously worked together before, and you don't see. I feel like when you have like a winner like that, you don't really move around. But these guys must just be really kind of entrepreneurial, looking for the new thing to build up. So
you're thinking if they see potential in it, then maybe we should.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So I think that they're really great with tech kind of stuff. And this one, all right. So I'll talk about the model of what they do before I actually talk about what they do.
Great.
So the business model is utilization model instead of subscription model, which means that everyone pays normally for most tech stuff. Everyone will pay $30 a month, $500 a month, whatever it kind of is, and they'll end up paying that, and it's a use as much as you want kind of platform, and everyone gets on it. The whole company pays per user usually, and they'll charge out that way, which is a great business model. It makes your income very consistent. Yeah. So what Snowflake have done is actually, it's backwards thinking, but I actually kind of like it because it's something that's a bit differentiates them a bit, I guess. Yep. So it's a utilization model, and what you do is you buy individual credits, and then you use the credits as you go. From a business perspective, and like any each activity kind of costs you one credit, and a credit might be valued at $1, and so as you move through the program, you only pay for what you use for.
Interesting.
Which is something that a lot of people would actually like.
You're paying in advance.
You're paying it as you use it, so you buy the credits in advance.
Yes.
And then you pay as you use credits.
Yes.
Essentially, you're paying out of their little system. So it's an interesting one. They're competing with and I watched a thing where the CEO was actually kind of talking about this. They're a customer of Microsoft and Amazon.
Yeah.
But they're also a competitor with Microsoft and Amazon.
Wow.
And so their main competition is Microsoft Azure, Google Cloud, and Amazon Web Service.
Yeah.
And they're actually they're competing with them, but they're also using some of their, and it might be on a different level, they're using some of their software to input. So I know that they used Excel to input at one point. Now I watched a demo on how they actually use the program.
Yeah.
So the program's actually it was a city bike demo.
Yep.
And they actually take all of the rides from New York or whatever, and just compact it into this huge kind of database, and just upload it. And then someone else is working on analyzing the data at the same time. So, but what it's able to do is it's really clever at pulling all that data. So then what happens is the guy goes and he uploads. He's like, I wonder if there's a correlation between weather and age and riding a city bike in New York.
Yeah.
And so then they found that in February it was a bit colder and it was a bit more snowy.
Yeah.
And they could correlate the snow with way less use.
Yeah.
And they could correlate, and they found that the target demographic they should be going after is 20 to 30, so like late 20s, early 30s.
Right. So Snowflake crunched this data.
Yeah, so it crunched all that data and it found the weather versus the people that are using it, and found the demographic. So it's super useful on a business to business, like a large scale kind of business operation. So it's an interesting company. It's
that is interesting.
It's called a data warehouse of cloud computing.
Yeah.
So that's the industry that they're in, but they're currently managing 20% of the Fortune 500 companies' data. So
wow.
And I think it can only continue to grow from there, because it seems like it's a large scale data operation, and it seems like it's really well run. So those are my thoughts on it.
I like it. I'm always a little bit hesitant with B2B companies, just because I feel like they lack the retail market perception of them.
That's true. People can't physically go and use them.
They lose, there's no emotional connection. Whereas if I buy a Tesla, or one day we're all driving Teslas, it's like obvious to everybody that this is something that's a mass product in the world. Whereas I suppose in my mind, it's just a thought. Like in my mind, somewhere like something like Snowflake, which could have 80% of market share of all of those Fortune 500 companies, the average Joe doesn't know that.
But the interesting thing about one of the really interesting things about business to business like this is that they can actually use that. So they can get those recurring billables. They can get. They don't have 1 million people to rely on. They've only got 20 people to rely on.
That's very true. It's good for their revenue.
They've got a really consolidated. So one of the great things is they've got a really consolidated list of customers, and they can put on. They can afford to put one really good salesperson on each customer. Yeah. They can pay that salesperson $500,000 and say, hey, just really look after Microsoft. Hey, really look after Amazon. But
then it's a big blow if they lose one of those customers.
Yeah, that's true. It does make it very undiversified, but it is nice and consolidated.
Yes.
So there's definitely huge pros and cons to both.
Yeah, I like it. Good combo.
Very good.
Do you want to restart that?
Yeah.